Yes, I do believe that most men's beauty standards are rooted in pedophilia because I remember one time when I was being intimate with some guy that I knew, and when we first were intimate, he just kept saying certain things that I didn't catch them at first, but they started to kind of ring alarm bells in my head as the day went on or the time went on. Because this guy was like huge compared to me, right? I'm like 5'3", at the time I was like 130 pounds. This guy was like 6'4", 200 something pounds. So he like was looming over me, genuinely. And even when we weren't being intimate, like I had to like my phone fell like behind his bed and it fell on the floors and I was like, oh shit, my phone fell. And he was gonna go get it for me, but because he was so big, he had to get off the bed and like put his hand under the bed. But for me, because I'm obviously smaller, I just took my hand and just put it through like the crack and I grabbed it. And he was like, oh, you're so tiny. Of course you can get it, your little tiny hands. And I was kind of like, oh, haha, but I didn't really think much of it because again, the size difference was pretty like clear. We started becoming intimate and like he just would not stop commenting on how tiny I was compared to him. And it was kind of getting to a point where it was like, okay, I get it. Like I am like small compared to you, but why do you keep bringing that up? Be TMI, but like I just also like don't like hair down there. Like that's not because of a beauty standard thing. I personally just don't like the way it feels. Like I never did even when I was younger. So I always kind of I used to shave, then I got waxed and everything. But again, that's not a beauty standard thing. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if you have a bush or not, because I've had a bush before and it didn't stop it from getting eaten. But it's truly just a preference for me. And he also like when he saw that, it's just like the reaction he had to it was like, you are very happy that there's no hair down there. I didn't really notice it at first. So they were subtle, but they were like, you know when you just catch something, like even if it's a subtle reaction, it just it's ingrained in like what you remember for a reason, because that's usually
the problem with that I'm having with her right now is everything she's saying. One, she takes everything off herself. So one, she picks the man, a certain man, right? You think that the only man that she could have slept with was 6'4", that big? Or do you think she have a preference? So women, all of you skip the part where you like a certain thing, which is men that are bigger than you. So by default, in order for that to happen, for anything to happen, a hookup to happen, he would have to like the opposite. He would have to like somebody that was smaller than him. You like him because he's big. He has to like you because you're small. That's common sense. And what women conflate is this height thing with age. The average woman is around 5'4". That's average. Woman is around there. So if the average woman is around 5'4"-ish and the average man is around 5'9"-ish and men go with women, then men would have to like women that are shorter and women will have to like men that were taller. That's just common sense. So of course you're going to be attracted to somebody that was smaller than you because you have to, in most cases, you would have to dominate over them. That's common sense. And this is the part that she's skipping. See, they can have a preference. And if you have a preference, nobody says nothing about it with a bigger guy. But as soon as a bigger guy likes exactly what you are, which is the opposite of him, then automatically you're a pedo. That doesn't even register to even make sense. How can you say that if you specifically picked somebody that's in the top as far as height? It's in the top, maybe, I think only like 15% of people is over 6'2". Of all people. So that's to think about that. So what you're basically saying is that women get taller as they get older, forgetting that women growth spurt stops very early on. So when she was about, let's say 14, 15 years old, she's probably the same height now as a woman as she was back then. So you cannot conflate that, all right, he likes younger, or let's say he likes the children because they're 5'4", when the average woman is like 5'4". You just so happen to stop growing around there. That doesn't make sense. And she's not getting that inside of her head. The same way you like, if something was on the top shelf and he reaches over and he can grab something from the top shelf, same way she'd be like, oh, I like that. He has to like the opposite, right? Somebody that's smaller than him that he could dominate over. So I don't understand why she's skipping that part. And women need to understand that that doesn't make a man a pedo. That makes him just like you. A pedo is someone that likes the young ones. The characteristics of an adult woman just so happens to be similar to when she was younger because she stopped growing at around that age. Duh. So if you like a woman, then technically the characteristics, because women are small, it's not like he's saying like, oh, you're so small, like you're 6. That doesn't make sense. Then you can have the argument with little people, right? So if a man is with a little person, does that mean he likes kindergartners? Is that what he into, a kindergartner? Because he likes a little person? Common sense. Like it's more things to somebody than just, their height. And then when you're talking about shaving, if you really think about it, once again, it's opposites that attract. Having hair everywhere is more of a masculine trait. This is the reason why feminists don't, the real feminists, we're not talking about, I just want to be boss babe. I'm talking about the real ones. I'm talking about the ones that grow beards if they could. Those feminists, they have underarm hairs and they don't shave. I'm not going against beauty standards. That's why she had to say that. She had to speak in that manner. That, oh no, I'm not saying nothing because the beauty standards, she had to like cover her ass because, girls gonna be like, what's wrong with not shaving? Whatever. She has to fight that battle and she knows that battle was there. So with feminists, they don't shave. The real ones. And they're not shaving their armpits, they're not shaving down, they're not shaving nothing. So guys gonna look at it like, you come off like a dude. When you see women, they're usually smooth and shaved and nice. You want your woman to be clean because you want her to be the opposite of you. Duh. The same way if a man went to get a wax, he wax his fucking ass and wax his back. Everything is just wax and he got to be all waxed up and dolled up. It's going to be unattractive to most women. They're going to be like, you look like you take care of yourself and your beauty and you care about it more than I do. It will come off as feminine. So they will have a problem if a man waxes everywhere and then he stays with his appointments. He waxes everywhere and wants everything to be super squeaky clean. She would have a problem with it because it's just not masculine. It's not something that masculine men tend to just do or even care about. So if your woman is the same as you, she's going to end up coming off as masculine. She skipped that part.
Your gut trying to tell you like, yeah, there's a reason why you noticed that reaction. After I left and like when like some time passed by and we kind of stopped talking anyway, I just looked back and I started thinking like, why was he so like, what was the big deal about that? And then it instantly clicked. I was like, oh, that was a big deal. He liked that I was much smaller than him and pretty much hairless down there because it was, yeah.
Because you was a feminine woman. That's why.